Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to our Live at 5, where we discuss freedom and liberty Monday through Friday. My name is Denise, and I'm one of the co-founders of Freedom Angels.
Hi, guys. My name is Heidi. I am one of the co-founders of Freedom Angels, and I live in the San Francisco Bay Area.
Hi, I'm Tara of the Freedom Angels in the northern Sierra Nevada mountains of California.
Hi, I'm Stephanie
Yeah.
Betzer. I live in Orange County, and I'm one of the sort of background co-founders of Freedom Angels.
Yeah, you're one of the co-founders of Freedom Angels, Stephanie. Say it like it is. So thank you for joining us again. We will be discussing what happened on Friday, May 1st, which was May Day. As you all know, we had a huge protest at the California Capitol where we had gridlock and boots on the ground. Right now, I don't have a number of how many people there were. I wish I did. But unfortunately, things didn't go the way that we predicted. There was some issues happening, and there were some, they're not even detainees. Is that right? Detainees instead of being arrested?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So, Heidi, you want to take it from here?
Well, I was just going to say we did have a meeting, a phone consult with an attorney today, and he did classify it as we were arrested. So it's an arrest. We were detained. But I do know that Stephanie doesn't have a lot of time, so I wanted to defer to Stephanie and then we maybe can go back and talk about the first, unless Stephanie wants to talk about the first. I just know she has a short amount of time. So Stephanie, it's you.
Oh my gosh, I wasn't ready for this.
Oh, talk over you.
The pressure.
I'll get a picture and I'll be on video next time because it's really weird just looking at a big S on the screen. But I guess we're going to announce that this Thursday, May 7th, at the California State Capitol, we're going to gather. It's a National Day of Prayer, and we sort of thought that it would be a great day to get together at the Capitol. Pastor Tim Thompson will be joining us to lead us in a short sermon and prayer. We will pray for our nation, obviously, and for the state of California. Additionally, we sort of talked about, and you guys are going to talk about it more, but what exactly happened on May 1st, and the fact that trust was really broken in the way things happened with the California Highway Patrol. We've had events at the state capitol for years now and never had an issue. There's never been any violence. We really actually have gotten along with California Highway Patrol. And we know that Governor Newsom is the one who issued the order, despite what he tried to say in his press conference on Friday. We know that the order came from him to draw that line and to get out there with their billy clubs. And really the energy came from them. We were peaceful and didn't have any intentions for anything to go the way that they did. And so we kind of wanted to honor, I don't know if honor is the right word, but we feel like we need to forgive the California Highway Patrol officers because we recognize that they were acting on an order from Governor Newsom. It's not to say that it excuses it by any means, but I know, Heidi, you'll probably talk a little bit more about it. So anyway, the idea is, and we'll have some marketing and graphics go out tonight, but Thursday, May 7th at 11 a.m. 11, is that right?
Yeah, Oh yeah, I think we did say 11, that's right.
11 a.m. on the west side. We'll join for prayer and some protest and bring a picnic lunch. It's going to be hot, so bring water and sunscreen if you do sunscreen. And currently, can I talk about the permit?
Yeah, go ahead.
We applied for a permit, and we'll share that permit language because we felt like it was really a good faith effort to build bridges with the California Highway Patrol and the Capitol Permits Office. And we quickly received notification that our permit was denied. So we don't have a permit. We are still working with Sacramento Police Department. They've been very supportive of our First Amendment rights. So we'll still have that space on 10th Street for anyone who's not comfortable being on Capitol grounds. We'll have plenty of space for people to spread out and join in prayer that day.
Stephanie, can you read the permit? Because I think that was pretty powerful what you put in writing.
Sure. Let me get to it real quick here. So I said, the thin blue line was blurred on May 1st, 2020, when the governor gave an order for CHP officers to hold the line, push law-abiding citizens off of Capitol grounds, and forcefully arrest women, children, disabled men, and pastors who were peacefully protesting the governor's unconstitutional executive order. Even when facing heavy-handed tactics from California Highway Patrol officers, the people remained peaceful. Trust was broken on May 1st. Even so, we understand that the governor put those officers in an impossible situation. On May 7th, a national day of prayer, the people of California will gather peacefully to build bridges and repair wounds. Pastor Tim Thompson will deliver a short sermon and lead us in prayer as we practice our First Amendment rights to free speech, freedom of religion, and peaceable assembly. We will have additional speakers to be announced and music. This will be a safe, peaceful event, and families are encouraged to attend and bring picnic lunches to enjoy in the grass on the west side. We will encourage appropriate social distancing unless part of the same family. We will dress in blue to pay respects to the thin blue line and send a message that we know who authorized CHP actions on May 1st. The governor will be held accountable. The officers will be forgiven. That's it.
I mean, it's a pretty amazing olive branch, and I know it's really difficult and it's gonna require a humongous step of faith. I know. Why did I put on makeup? Because I'm just gonna cry. Really shouldn't have. I know a lot of people were hurt really badly on the first, and I mean, I can only speak for myself. I was not handled. The treatment that the three of us received especially was excessive. So my son witnessed it too. But I just know that the very next day when he woke up and he said, "Mommy, I want to go right back to the Capitol," that's when I knew in my heart of hearts that as a mother, I cannot model anger. I cannot model hatred. I cannot model a lack of respect for another human being. I know as a mother, I have to model forgiveness, and I have to model grace and dignity, and I have to model a way forward for my son. And my son is really the one who led the way, because he's the one who insisted, "Mommy, we're going straight back to the Capitol." And the very next day we did, and we stood on those grounds and we prayed together, and we found an amazing sign hidden in the bushes that said, "Jesus heal this land." And it was like, yes, this is exactly what we're supposed to do. We're never going to win this when we are put at odds against one another. And it crushes my heart that there's so much hatred right now towards law enforcement for what happened, because I know in my heart of hearts that yes, they could have stood down, they could have, but I don't think even they at that moment knew the gravity and I don't think they understood. There's probably some who did. I do believe there's one or two bad apples that there was an evil spirit behind it, but I think the vast majority were not whatsoever. So
this is going to be a challenge for me. You know, we have friends in CHP. We've built those relationships, and I know that there's really great officers out there. But I come from a very different place, and I've experienced a lot of bad apples in my life. And so this is going to be a huge stepping stone for me to get over the way that we were manhandled and the violence that kind of came at us. Yes, there are, bad apples. Yes, there are good apples, but this is going to be a huge step for me to go to this protest and really hold the line for these officers to step out of the box and say, okay, what we did was a mistake. And if they call in, if they don't call in, whatever they choose to do, it's part of the forgiveness that we do have to step forward and acknowledge that we can't be angry like that. I mean, I've come from a very angry place already, and it's taken me a lot to change. And thankful to you women who have really shown me how to forgive and how to move forward and how not to hold grudges. So I'm really going to be holding on to you ladies, because you guys are going to model it for me. I am not at that place yet that you guys are. So I'm going to look out for you guys. And this is something a lot of us are experiencing. A lot of people are very disappointed in the way that we were treated. A lot of people are very angry, and a lot of people are not ready to say, I understand where you're coming from. But we really have to look at each other, look at these beautiful women who have modeled to the forgiveness and the stepping forward, because we're not going to win with hating these officers. We're not going to win with holding grudges, and we're not going to win with violence. It's just not going to happen. We've seen it time and time again. So many people have been mistreated, but we also have to look at the officers who have kept in communication with us and encouraged us to keep going. So I'm going to have to hold on to you ladies in order to show me how to do this, because I don't know how to do this right now.
Yeah. I get it. It's, this situation's so difficult for everyone. And that's what it really comes down to, is we're all in this together for real. The whole world is in this together right now. And it's so important to model that we will be, standing firm in peaceful, nonviolent resistance. I do not feel good about how I was treated in the process of being arrested. After that, after we were arrested and brought down to the basement, we were treated well. But, I don't feel good about that. And I do feel it's important that law enforcement needs to honor their oath to the Constitution, that they need to say, I'm sorry, those orders are unjust and I will not follow them. And by us keep meeting them in peaceful, nonviolent resistance is all we can do to have our voice be heard right now, especially in a moment in time where there's essentially tyranny. There's, one governor and his appointed officials weighing in on the fate of our state, and he's not course correcting with new data on the virus and on the conditions that people are literally suffering under.
I mean, I really don't want to say too much on the part of what you guys are talking about, because I don't want to look back and regret what I say. This is a process. All of it is a process. There's no handbook on how to be an activist, and there's no handbook on how to confront the wrongdoings of what people enact. People who we trust, people who have taken an oath to protect us and protect the Constitution, yet they charged at us like we were violent criminals, and they moved forward just like a regime from Germany. They knew they shouldn't have done this. They said it time and time again. I'm with you, but I'm in uniform. And I kept telling the officer arresting me, the measure of a man, the measure of a person is how they act in and outside of their uniform, doing the righteous thing at all times, not just when you have a certain uniform on or off. And the officer understood, and you can see the pain in his eyes while he's doing this, yet I have 3 officers on me, carrying me out and dragging me across the floor of the Capitol. I mean, it's so hard to say, I forgive you, or I understand where you're coming from. And being there on Thursday with Pastor Tim, with you ladies, with the rest of our community who are prayer warriors and people who have learned to forgive, I think it's going to help a lot of us heal from what happened and keep moving forward. Because I don't want to move forward in anger. I don't want to continue doing this with the thought of, I hate these police officers, I'm going to do everything I can to make them miserable. That's not going to work. So again, it's a process, and I'm really looking to you guys to model this for me. And so we can model it for the rest of the people. It's going to be a difficult challenge, but I think we can do it. We've been able to stand tall this long, and we didn't come this far to give up.
Well, and I'm doing it, in faith that they will see and handle things the right way. Because what we all know is that everyone was peaceful on the grounds there for hours and hours. Nothing had changed on the ground of the Capitol from our side. What changed was an order came from the top to change their behavior towards us. If you can hear some of the video when I'm, being arrested, and my first arm goes behind me and the second arm goes, and it was even more painful. And I'm saying, you're hurting me. You don't have to do it this way. Everyone is peaceful. You don't have to be doing this. And as we spoke to them, for hours on end, is like, you're going to have to step out and decide what side of history you're going to be on here, and to actively go after non-peaceful, nonviolent protesters. I would think that's you're going to have a deep soul calling to like sit and think, what am I going to do if that happens to me again?
And I see a comment of someone saying, what happens if it happens again? I mean, I don't have an answer for that, but all we can do is keep going. If we get scared and stop or say, what if this happens again? We're not going to get anywhere, and Newsom will win. Newsom has really twisted the arms of everybody, the CHP, the PD, everybody. He's trying to coerce with fear and scare tactics to try to get us to stop, because he knows we're on the right track. He knows that if we continue to get the kind of people that are coming to the Capitol, going to Huntington Beach and going to all these places, he's not going to reign like a king anymore. The counties are going to push back. The state leaders or the county leaders will push back and will win. So, if it happens again, all we can do is stick together and continue to move forward. But there's going to be lawsuits. There's already lawsuits. Newsom has how many lawsuits on him? I don't think he's going to be able to hide behind CHP very much longer.
And ultimately, Newsom answers to God, and that's how I proceed. We may not see the vindication this side of eternity. We may not, but ultimately, we each, all of us, answer to God. And so it's really hard to keep walking forward in faith. It takes a lot. It takes a lot, but those officers have children too. Those officers have wives too, and we're out there standing up for them too. And yeah, I'm just so grateful that Pastor Tim is providing a spiritual covering for us, guys. It's amazing that he's come around us so firmly and so supportively. And there's something about that. I don't know if people understand how important it is to operate under a spiritual covering, and to have a pastor who's so bold and is taking that authority and to step over and provide that covering for us. I think that's something that should be looked at too. And as families evaluate if they're willing to come, to realize that we already, as the four of us, have spent a lot of time in prayer over this. I mean, the entire time I was detained, there was a lot of time that I was just praying there in the basement, reclaiming that ground for the Lord. And I know Pastor Tim was doing the same thing. And I know many of the people that were detained were Christians, and they were there doing the same thing. So it is a step of faith. We aren't promised that it's going to be an easy road forward, but having a solid spiritual leader that's going to be there to help guide us, I think that should bring some comfort to a lot of people.
And I mean, we knew these orders came from Newsom, not just by the officers saying, this is coming straight from the top. Like, they kept saying it. They wanted us to know it's Newsom. He is the one that is putting everybody in a very bad position, and he's using them as, as his weapon, really. But we were targeted. We absolutely were targeted. They knew who we were. They were talking before they were yanking us out of line. They were talking before they yanked Pastor Tim out of, his area. Newsom knows how effective what we're doing really is. And we have to keep the pressure. We have to keep the momentum going. And we have to let him know, no matter what kind of scare tactics you try to instill in us, it's not going to work. We do not walk in fear. We are not going to sit here and be scared of this person who thinks he's a king. We have amazing, amazing spiritual guidance. We have so many people who back us. We have, I mean, this is no longer one particular movement. This is everybody, because this affects everybody on the planet right now. So it's global, and he knows that he's in a very bad spot. He needs to start opening up, or we're going to do it without him.
Well, yeah, I mean, people are starting to open up, thankfully, because the urgency of the moment is only getting more so with every passing minute. I mean, people's lives are literally being destroyed. And, you know, you see things like it's okay and safe to go to Costco and be there for an unlimited amount of time, and yet you can't go to a small private business. And you know, it's okay to do this, but not to do that. And so many of these things don't make sense to anybody on the ground. And many, many people's lives are thoroughly upended and destroyed, whether it be a business they built that is literally on the either broken or on the brink of going down, or or it's just their income that has been reduced or eliminated. Or if it's their children who are suffering outside of their circles of school and friendship, or if it's our elders who are isolated, or honestly, any person who is in a hospital or a care facility going through the hardest times of their life, whether it be from cancer or anything, or an infection, are isolated and alone right now. We have not had the real solutions we need. We don't even know right now if best practices on therapeutics are being offered to every person in any facility, whether it be a hospital or a nursing home. That's just the tip of the iceberg. So many people don't qualify for unemployment. No, small loans have not come back to the small businesses to help them, bridge this time. None of this makes sense. Closing beaches, closing parks, allowing, certain box stores to be open and small businesses not. It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up, and it doesn't add up to pretty much everybody on the ground. And so that's why, again, the movements for opening up are growing exponentially in every state, because it has to. The people need a solution. They need to get back to work and to real life. And really also without conditions. No, this whole new normal of you're only going to get to be able to go back to life if you comply with this test or this app that's going to track you, or if you move the spacing of your business down to have like half as many restaurant tables, or if your office seats are 6 feet apart, or if your kids in school are walled off from each other and wearing face shields. We can't allow that to be contingent on our participation in society in our own lives. And just like we said, we have to each all keep coming back to our communities, to our governors, to our elected officials, and just saying, no, open it now. We're taking these matters into our own hands, and we're going to open our businesses. We're going to, hopefully the sheriffs and the law enforcement will not enforce the governor's orders in various states that restrict. I don't know. I'm just, just to kind of end there and jump to something what I wanted to say at the beginning of this that I didn't, is I just want to thank everybody who's been worried about us. Thank you. We're okay. We're okay. It was an injustice on everyone there. It was an injustice on every person that is screaming out for real solutions and real help right now in this country and in the world. And but we're strong, and the courage of our convictions of that we have human and protected constitutional rights, and that we need to protect those and get and not be made criminals for needing to have your work go, or to want to know if your loved one is getting the best medicine or whatever it might be. So sorry, I got a little emotional there because I haven't addressed to everyone. Thank you for the love and support.
it was kind of like bringing back some PTSD for me. I mean, it's really, I did not think that was going to happen. And I just want to say I'm sorry to the people who experienced that with their babies. All of our, protests, these are peaceful. It's important that families come out to show Governor Newsom it's not a particular movement. It's not a white thing. It's not a race thing. It's not a socioeconomic thing. This is families in California are screaming because they are hurting. They are scared. There's nowhere to go. There's no unemployment. It's running out. So many people haven't even gotten unemployment. They haven't received their stimulus. They're literally sitting at home waiting to see when they can work. When Governor Newsom has created this corporate California, Walmarts are open, big box stores are open, where they have hundreds of people all day long, and there's no, disinfecting or cleaning any of the products. But it's not a good thing to have small businesses open where they can control what's going on. It's a ridiculous thing that he's doing, telling us the activities that we can do, the activities that we can't do. A lot of families are hurting. Children are being traumatized by not being able to see their friends, not being able to go outside. They do not understand what's going on. And as a parent, I'm not going to sit there and tell my children that Governor Newsom is going to make the choice if we can go outside or not. We really need businesses to open, and for the communities to start supporting these businesses that are opening up, just like that deli in Sacramento, Labu, that was able to make payroll because you guys from the protest went over there and patronized their deli. They were able to keep a roof over their employees' head, and they were able to make their bills. This is how we're going to open up California. We don't need Governor Newsom and his manipulated data. We have been sold out to China at a price of $1 billion for face masks, with half of that being upfront without the actual mask and no oversight. He hasn't answered to any legislators on why, how, when, what, how he spent this $1 billion. And he's acting like a king. He's saying, I don't have to show you. So, we need to get back to work. We need to get food on our tables. We need to get Americans and Californians out of the food pantry and out of the the volunteer experience position that he wants us in, and get back to work. He really does not want independence from the government. He wants us to be completely dependent so we can be under his thumb. And people are tired of it. They're ready to get back to work. We've given him plenty of time, and the data is not adding up. The numbers aren't adding up, and it's quite questionable to be doing business at a number of $1 billion to China.
I know. I mean, there needs to be investigations on him. He's had no checks and balances. How did they determine this? How did they decide that? What did they use to weigh all these decisions? Because on the ground, looking up at him, looking at what he's been doing, everyone's seeing it doesn't add up, from the numbers to all the different rationale. And they're tired of it, but they're also hurting bad. We all are. Steph, do you want to say something?
You guys have pretty much covered everything. I did want to say, back when Heidi was talking about forgiveness, I think it's really important. And I know, I was on that live video when they were pushing us back with the batons, and I was so angry at those officers because on the one hand, they were telling us, we don't want to be here. We don't want to be here. This isn't what we want to do. On the other hand, they were jabbing batons in the backs of mothers and arresting people. Forgiveness is really for us. Whatever bonus we get, if they come out and meet us and it's peaceful and there are no issues, that's icing on the cake. But the forgiveness part is really for us, because we can't move forward until our hearts can heal.
Yes, I couldn't agree more. There's some people making comments saying that, protests don't matter and this is just another protest, and you're like beating on a dead wall or whatever. And I just have to say to those people, they weren't there, they didn't experience it. And so this is a call for all the people that were there, especially to the 32 that were arrested. We are asking if you could please especially come join us. This is a call out to any other, even if you were there or not, the point of why we are gathering on Thursday is for prayer and forgiveness. So I don't want it to be misconstrued into something that's not the vision of why we're doing this. There's power in gathering together in community. There's power in prayer. There's power in being under the spiritual covering of a pastor. And there's power in being able to look face to face in another human being's eyes. And that is the reason why we are gathering, to stand as, to represent a human blue line, we the people, the line between the CHP and Governor Newsom, that we stand solidly to protect law enforcement as well.
You know, in response to the protests don't work, protests are really to gather the people, to show the numbers, and then to get together. I mean, because we network. When we have protests, we're not just sitting there and holding up a sign. We're actually networking with people, and we're connecting with people, because when it's time to open up and when it's time to open up these businesses, we have those networks of people who are done with everything, ready to go and patronize these stores, ready to go patronize these restaurants. Instead of just sitting at home and hoping something changes, it is important that we get together. It is important that we start knowing each other face to face and building those bridges and those relationships. So when time comes to open up a gym or open up a restaurant, we can call you and say, we need you to call your friends and your family and come out here and witness what's going on, and you really support these small businesses. Protests absolutely work. Does it change a law right then and there? No, but it gathers the people who are ready to be boots on the ground and ready to say, no, it's enough. So just to recap, on the May 7th at 11 a.m., we're going to be at the California Capitol. A flyer will be available shortly, and we are going to be gathering for a day of prayer and a day of forgiveness, not so much for others, but for us to heal and to continue to move forward. And also to tell Newsom, your coercion of these police officers, your scare tactics are not going to work, and we're going to be back, and we're going to continue to hit you hard in your backyard, as well as the restaurants and the small businesses. We're pretty much done in California, and people are ready to step outside the box and join us.
Yeah, and for anybody that thinks protests don't work, they don't understand why Gavin Newsom did what he did on Friday.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It was completely fear-based for him. He recognizes that the people are rising up and we're getting bigger.
And I'm one person, we're 4 people on here, but we know that there's millions upon millions across this nation that are hurting and have the same questions and want the same accountability and need to get back to life as much as any one of them. And if we all do stand in numbers in the tens of thousands, in the hundreds of thousands, or in the millions across the nation, then our voices are heard that much sooner. And all the people that are hurting right now will work towards solutions and a pathway out of this chaos a lot faster. And so that's why it does work to stand together. You don't even have to call it protests. We're standing together peacefully to have our voices heard. And now more than ever, where our governor and the appointed health officials and in our state and across the nation are not listening to or hearing the voice of the people, nor are they looking at the new science and data and the modeling and the word from the doctors and the nurses and the collateral damage on the ground. They're not looking at reality on the ground like almost every person is. And they're not, changing course. So that's why it's critical, especially now when we're essentially under, house arrest and tyrannical rule, that our voices must be heard.
Heidi, what time are we at?
Yeah, we need to wrap it up. I wanted to make sure Stephanie got to say anything else she wants to say.
No, that's it. I just hope we get a lot of people out there on Thursday. And I guess one other thing, it's important to remember, I know the governor gave his speech today and he claimed that we were moving into phase 2, but really phase 2 is no different. I mean, we get curbside delivery of clothes. That's really the big change. he still, if you want to be in church, he still thinks church is akin to entertainment. He has no plans for us to be, quote unquote, allowed back in church for several months. So if that matters to you, I think showing up on Thursday should be a high priority.
Yes. So again, it is May 7th.
Nor does he have any plans to get people back to work.
Yeah. So May 7th at 11 a.m. on the west side of the California Capitol in Sacramento, California. Freedom Angels will be there for a day of prayer. Please join us and please share the flyer once we have it available. If you could please start a watch party and share this video. Due to censorship, our videos do get blocked. Please know we do have a YouTube channel called Freedom Angels where all of our lives get posted up. And we have a Telegram channel, Freedom Angels Foundation, where we put up all of our calls to action in case Facebook takes us down. Our email address is freedomangels@protonmail.com. If you do send us an email, please leave your county and the reason for the email so we can triage. We try to get to the most urgent emails quickest because we are inundated, which is a great thing, a great problem to have. I appreciate you guys reaching out. So if there's anything else you ladies would like to say, we will catch you back on tomorrow at 5 o'clock California time from our Freedom Angels Foundation page, Facebook page.
So I just wanted to say that I know people are asking about donations too. As soon as we get off this live, I'll find out how much money we raised for our last event because we still have to pay off the buses from our last event. People asked about, will there be buses for Thursday? I mean, at this point, it takes money to do everything. And so we still have to raise money for bathrooms, you know, porta potties on Thursday. And we're going to need a sound system as well. So yes, we still need donations. I will provide an update as soon as I get off this live. I'll sit down to figure out how much donations came in, how much we still need to pay off our last gathering, and what would be needed for this future gathering. But yes, guys, we're doing this on a shoestring. None of us are paid. We're all doing it as volunteers. We're not making a dime. It's going directly to the cost of the event.
Yeah. But thank you to all the donations that did come through to, bring these buses up. Nothing is free. All of our events do have, we try to do the best job that we can as far as like porta potties and DJs and, waters. Waters are always appreciated as donations. If you don't have money, you can donate waters. We can always use that. So again, Heidi will put that up. And thank you guys for sharing this video. And we will see you tomorrow at 5 o'clock. Bye.
Bye.